Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Anon, your host for the next couple of hours, along with Steve.
Good morning, everybody.
Sorry, you were muted over here. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning, everybody.
And Spence is here. And Nick is here.
No, I'm not here.
And there's Mike.
Well, yeah.
Oh,
Amnon,
yeah.
Amnon.
Yeah.
Why do you keep us muted during the intro every week?
Well, because many times you guys will say something during the intro.
Never.
Well,
we never talk during the intro. That's all.
Okay,
that's
I will
lot.
not do it from now on. I promise.
Now I'm going to start talking during the intro.
I'm going to start coughing.
Shall we start again?
Shall we do it again? Just test.
Oh, no.
Hit it, Amnon.
No.
Our number is
Alexa.
919-518-9773. Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And this morning's show is being brought to you by Adamus.com, makers of quality video recorders and converters for professionals. And the broadcast is made possible by Telestream Wirecast software. Yeah. So what's going on?
It's 40 degrees out.
It's 4
40. 30. It's 39. 39.8 degrees out.
right now?
It's warmer. It's
Right now?
warmer there than it is here.
Yeah.
So it's a beautiful morning.
It
Didn't
was
hit
29.
32 yesterday though. But
Good Lord, it's 28 here.
Yeah,
no,
we had,
Mm.
we had 24 overnight here. The low temperature was 24.
oh no, I don't even think I hit 24 yesterday. Damn, it was cold yesterday.
So what kind
What's
of
the
plants did you
temperature?
kill last night?
What's the temperature on your side of the pond, Steve?
In Fahrenheit or in Celsius?
Well, nobody knows Celsius. So.
You don't know Celsius over there. Well,
I
Fahrenheit
do.
it'd
I
be
do know
around
Celsius.
about 50, 55.
What is it in degrees Kelvin?
Kelvin, I don't know.
Calvin is the superior.
I don't know. I'd have to ask somebody that.
It's cold, isn't it?
It's not as cold as you've got it. Blimey, you've got it really cold over there from what I've been reading online.
If you don't go outside with short sleeves, it's cold.
Global warming.
That's the gauge.
Got him.
But yeah, no, it was cold yesterday too.
It wasn't that bad.
Well, it's bad when you're standing outside. at the
I've got
corner.
a friend who's in Michigan and Detroit,
Very good.
and he was going to go out and do something yesterday, thinking the weather was going to be better. But when he got up and looked outside and saw the temperature, he said it was 0 degrees. Forget it. I'm not doing it today. So yeah, it was cold.
Now, I was going to drive the Jeep yesterday downtown, but for a display that from like 12 until 5, and it was just too cold. So I took the truck, and as I stopped at the edge of the driveway to get on the street, the brakes kind of went almost down to the floor. Said, "Uh-oh." So had to stop and fill her up. It wasn't leaking. I don't understand where it's going. I'm sure it's leaking somewhere, but that took some time. And it was cold, Mike, to stand out there in the parking lot. It was cold.
It went to the same place that socks go in the dryer when they disappear. Just never find it again.
Oh, maybe. So today I'm going to take the Jeep. Today it's a little warmer.
Here you
Your audio to the Hangout is low, Amnon.
The what?
Your audio to the Hangout is low.
Really? Is it better now?
It is.
Okay. Interesting. Oh, yeah. No, I see it now. Yeah, it is.
So I've had an interesting experience in the last 24 hours with the computer. Actually,
Sure.
last 36 hours. A buddy of mine runs a law firm. It's just him and his admin. And she was complaining that her computer was running slowly. So they'd already had a number of people look at it, and no one could figure out what was wrong with it. I told them I would come by and look at it. I went over there, and when she said slow, she was not joking.
Oof.
I mean, it would take literally a minute to open a browser.
Windows XP?
No.
Really?
Windows 7 on an i5 quad core.
Damn.
Wow.
So I said, okay, it's probably got some crap in there, and time was running out, and I needed to go, and they needed to go. So I said, all right, let's install TeamViewer on it, and I will work on it from home. Installed TeamViewer, came home, logged into it, finally got logged into it. I ran any number of utilities that I could find. I ran, I've run everything on it I could find. I've run Hitman Pro. I ran ADW Cleaner. I mean, everything, all the good stuff. I went through everything on the list, and it found almost nothing. I mean, the computer was very clean. Well, then I decided to because it's still dog slow. So I decided to reboot into the safe mode to see what I could find there, see if it was screwed up. Well, I rebooted into safe mode, but unfortunately I could not log back into the computer. For some reason, it would not let me log back in. So I got up with my buddy. We went over there yesterday afternoon. I picked up the computer and brought it over here. Got it home because I had become, one of the things that I did run on it was HD Tune. And I mean, the results were just pitiful. I mean, it's almost flatlined down at the bottom on the hard drive. I ran performance test, and again, the performance was just pitiful, as you would expect.
So the computer's performance was okay, but the hard drive was bad?
Yes.
Performance, okay.
So what does that say, Amnon?
There's something probably wrong in the hard drive,
Right.
or the
Bad
controller.
sectors, or system files.
Yeah, the
corrupt.
motherboard, right?
I mean, the two things that are really hardest to find in my experience with a computer is bad RAM. And that's, I mean, if it's completely gone, it's not a big deal, but it's whenever it's intermittent or it's got a latent problem.
Amen
And the
to
other
that.
is a hard drive that is just not performing up to spec. It's not bad sectors. You don't find it with the easy tools. So I got it back over here. It was horrible. It had an expired version of AVG on it. It had just expired a few days before. Business
Oh,
version.
there you go.
And well, so anyway, I start working on this thing, and I go back and I run all of the same utilities again. It finds nothing. It takes forever. It finds nothing. I went over to Best Buy, got a new hard drive, came over, copied it over, everything copied over just fine, and rather quickly, put the new hard drive in, boom, problem solved. I thought. Within about half an hour, it was back to its same old performance again.
Did you uninstall AVG?
Well, no, not yet.
You may find out
but-
that that's where the problem is.
Well,
I'd say,
Do you remember
I'd
in the old days when I'm sorry, Steve?
like I said, I've had the same experience myself, Mike, and I found it's either been bad sectors or it's been a system file, even just one system file that's gone corrupt.
I've had that too. I've had that same problem, Steve, and I checked all that. I did the scan for system files and sectors. All of that everything I touch comes back clean. I can show that the performance is degraded, but the cause of it is I can't find it. Well, I finally uninstalled AVG.
Mm-hmm.
No difference.
Oh,
No difference. Well, at this point in time, I'm about to give up on it and wipe it
No.
out and just reinstall Windows, which will be a big problem because they're on a server and they've got some specialized applications, and they may or may not have the original disks for them. So I'm really...
Now, what happens when you go into safe mode?
Well, I got it into safe mode, and when I finally figured out how to get it into safe mode. I don't recall, because you got to understand something. When you start getting flustered doing a bunch of things at one time, you sort of lose touch of what the last thing was you did, particularly when it's after midnight.
Did you do a clone copy?
What I did was I used Terabyte Unlimited to
Okay.
make an image to a USB drive, and then restored that image from the USB drive to the new hard drive,
All right.
which is
Tr-
byte for byte perfect.
Try and go into the system and do away with the virtual memory with the page. Do away with it. Say you don't want to have one, and reboot. And then after you reboot, go to the C drive, the root folder, and remove the paging file. It's
Why? What does that accomplish?
it's huge because there may be some problem in there.
Mhm.
And if you copied it, it may do something. So do away with it, and then reboot, and then recreate. Go into the system and say, yeah, let Windows manage it. And I mean, these are shots in the dark, Mike.
Oh, I know, but I've already fixed it, so I'm going to tell you. I'm interested in hearing what you're.
Oh, okay. So you did fix it. Good. Okay.
I would have said that I don't think the system file checker actually checks the page file. I might be wrong, but I don't think it does,
Right.
because it's a file that's changed all the time.
Yeah. Well, another thing that I did was I used CCleaner and wiped out the temp files. It had 2 gigabytes worth of temp files under Internet Explorer. None of that
Yeah.
made any difference. Nothing made any. Everything I run comes up clean.
Did you do
I
the
even
registry cleaner?
yeah, the one in CCleaner, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
Which I'm not a big fan of, and I've never had it work. But so far it has never hurt anything except for the one time about 3 or 4 years ago. But all this is everything's coming up clean, absolutely everything. And and again, the symptom is, and I didn't say this, the problem, what I ultimately found out is what I could not see remotely, is the reason the computer is so low is because the hard drive's running all the time.
Is it almost finished?
What do you mean almost
I mean,
finished?
almost full. I'm sorry.
No, not even close.
Did you do away with the search?
Yep, didn't
Okay.
make any difference.
Okay. But
Turn
it
off the
is
search index.
but it is running all the time.
Almost
Kinda,
all the time.
yeah.
Stays solid lit. The LED is solid lit, and I'm just saying something's wrong. I even downloaded. I learned how to mod. Well, I see how people say, why do you spend so much time doing these things? Why not just wipe it out? And the reason is because you learn stuff when you do this.
Not only that,
And-
but like you said, they have all kind of specialty.
Yeah.
You
Well,
can't,
what I
it's-
learned is that there is a utility built into Windows 7 that I didn't know was there. It's called Resource Monitor.
Yeah.
And it was of no help, but it could have been if the problem were something else. If you do start and then go to search and type in resource, it'll pop up at the top. It's called Resource Monitor. It's a nice little tool utility built into Windows 7 and probably everything after that
This
as
is
well.
I didn't know this was built into Windows.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's definitely built into Windows 8.1.
Yep.
What's up with my maximum frequency?
Yeah, I don't know what all that stuff means.
106%. I guess that's okay.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how to interpret everything on it yet, but it's an easier way of looking at what's going on your computer than trying to interpret Task Manager.
Yeah, and it shows so for people that are not looking at it, it shows your CPU, your disk, your network, and your memory, so you can do a breakdown of each and see what's going on. This is
Kind of
cool.
get an idea of what's going on. Well,
Okay, so keep going.
at this point, I'm out. I'm done. I don't know what to do. So when all else fails, you go to the internet. And I started looking around, and it's all the same solutions that we've done many times over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And I don't know how, when, where, or when, where, or why, but I actually saw a link on Microsoft's website about if you're having a problem, download, install, and run our program called Microsoft Safety Scanner. Have you ever heard of it?
No.
Nor have I.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
posting the link.
I have.
I'm
I-
posting the link as we speak into the chat room.
Mm-hmm.
I used
And
it once.
what?
I used it once.
All
And it
right.
was
And
with
what
a-
this is, it's a 140 byte file, kilobyte, 140 megabyte file that I'm sure has some sort of database built in, what have you. The file is only good for 10 days. It expires after 10 days.
Okay.
I ran it on there and it found a nasty.
Really?
Yes.
And all the other programs passed it with flying colors.
Including Combo Fix.
I used it in desperation with
Wow.
a nasty virus that I had could not fix. That was that bargain finder or coupon clipper or whatever it was that it didn't take that off. So I wound up re-imaging the machine. But I did find that in my searching for tools, and it looks like a neat tool, but it didn't fix what I had.
How long did it take to run, Mike? Or was it like a quick thing?
10 minutes.
Oh, okay.
So you ran it and that fixed it?
Yep.
And you let it run for a while? I mean, it's been running.
It ran all night.
Did it tell you what it found?
Yep, it was. I didn't understand because there's a quick scan and a full scan. It ran the quick scan and found the nasty. It was something. It was. I'd have to think of some of the names of what it found, but
Okay.
it's not listed as one of the top desktop threats that I'm looking here. But it wasn't Trojan. It wasn't adware. It was a nasty. It says now, sometimes these programs find things that are in temp files and all that really aren't part of the system. And it did not give me enough detail to know whether that was the case. And as tired as I was, I really didn't care at that point. So, it automatically removes it. It's not a situation of do you want to remove it? It removes it. Wham, gone.
That's good.
And it took it out and came back up. And from everything I could tell, the machine was running just fine. And I said, okay, bedtime. And I decided I would do a full scan, which I did because it takes several hours to do a full scan. And I ran the full scan. And when I got up this morning, it said that it had found and deleted one called ransomware.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
which
it could
that
also
was
be
not active on the machine. Ransomware was not active on the machine.
So, Mike, what might have happened is somebody used another quick scan program to remove the ransomware,
Right.
but there was still some particles left
Leftover,
behind,
yeah.
and that full scan found the garbage that was left.
Right. In my opinion at this point is that the first quick scan found whatever the problem was, and the full scan found some remnants that were not an issue.
Exactly. Well, that's good.
All right, here's the good news. There is some confusion in my part because I uninstalled AVG about the same time I started running all this. As far as I recall, my best memory is that I removed AVG and ran for a while without it, and it still exhibited the problem. As far as I know, the only thing that solved the problem was running this Microsoft Safety Scanner. Here's the good news. I still have the original drive.
Mhm.
I'm going to put it back in.
And
I'm
run it.
going to run nothing but
Yep.
Microsoft Safety Scanner and see if it cleans it up.
Yep. I was going to ask you.
Sounds like a good plan.
Very interesting. And you wonder why they don't put that mechanism into Security Essentials.
Apparently, and that's the real head scratcher there, because they say that it is still available for Windows XP and it will be until July 15th, and then they say it will also be available as part of Windows Update.
Yeah, I mean, what is the program that they were always sending with the updates and running
Right.
it?
And maybe this is a version of that. I don't know.
Something
But-
malware, something
Yeah,
tool.
malware removal tool.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but and Merle, I did put Security Essentials on it, and it is running on there and running well.
You know, you look, Mike, I'm looking at the web page where the safety scanner is. It looks like it comes out of a different house in Microsoft because it doesn't have the same look and feel to
Yeah.
the web page. So it's probably another group inside of.
They bought somebody.
Oh, they
Yeah.
bought somebody. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
That's
kind
what
of
it
my
looks like.
theory as well. I don't have any substantiation at all for that theory, but that's kind of what I'm thinking as well. And it's almost like we really don't want to admit that you have to run something like this, but it's here if you need it. I got to tell you, if if Apple would come out with a computer somewhere between that little piece of small thing they got, what is it?
MacBook or the Mac Mini?
MacBook Air.
No.
Oh.
Desktop.
The Mini?
Oh, the Mac Mini.
Mini. If they'd come out with something between the Mac Mini and the Mac Pro, it would be tempting. It would be tempting. It's really disgusting that a computer can have this sort of problem buried so deep. What's the average guy to do? What's the average? I mean, what do they do?
Right.
Hey, I have noticed that there have been lots of Mac updates recently. More than in the last 6 months I've had in the last month. I've had about 3 in the last month.
My buddy was asking me while I was working on it in the office. He said, "What do you think we ought to do?" I said, "Get a Mac."
Back
He
to you.
said, "Really?" I said, "No."
It was good to know that at least they're proactive about some of the things they've been criticized for in the past.
Well, I mean, there's so much fiction out there about Mac computers. They are not a panacea. And the reason I say that is because one of the things that I've gotten involved in again lately after all these years and have really enjoyed doing is some electronic repairs. I'm even starting to work on LCD monitors and computer power supplies, which these are the nastiest, ugliest things in the world to work on, but they're kind of a challenge. I've repaired everything that I can find of mine that's broken, so now I'm looking for other. I really like working on tube-type guitar amplifiers. And
What were you able to repair on an LCD?
I was not able to repair it, but I was able to troubleshoot it down to the problem. And it was just a curiosity. It was just an old ViewSonic 19-inch LCD monitor that it was working fine one day, then all of a sudden it stops working. It has a flashing light, which is known to be a bad capacitor problem. I replaced all the bad capacitors in it, which was about $10-15 worth of capacitors. The monitor's not worth that, but it was a curiosity to me. Put it all back together and it didn't work. And so I started digging into it a little deeper, and I never understood how pulse width modulated power supplies work. Switching power supplies, never gotten into them. They're ugly, nasty, and even dangerous to some point. And so I finally got in there. I probably spent 4 or 5 hours working on this thing and nailed it down to a surface mount IC that's probably defective. And I'm not going to spend $12 on a chip. I'd take a good chance on blowing it up, putting it in there, because I don't have surface mount rework tools just to find out what the problem is. Normally, that chip rarely fails. So on any other monitor, I probably would have been able to fix it. There are some things that are going on in the video board that if it were that problem, it's not that I couldn't fix it, it's that I don't have the tools and I wouldn't bother unless it was like $1,000 monitor. But I'm mentioning all that to mention this. And the reason I've sort of gotten a renewed interest in the electronic side of things is because, unlike when I was doing it, with the internet now, you can log into certain websites and say, I've got a problem with a flashing light on a ViewSonic VX910, and a guy said, "Oh yeah, you need to look at C27 because it'll cause that problem." We didn't have that before, and usually when they suggest something, it's rarely the issue. You still got to know what you're doing, but sometimes they'll get you looking in the right area, and that's helpful. And there wasn't very much help on this one, but I learned a tremendous amount about switching power supplies as a result, and it's fun. It's fun. I don't have anything broken right now other than that monitor, and I don't know what to fix. I can get a replacement power supply board out of China for $19 shipped, but I'm not sure the monitor's worth it.
Mike, you should go down to the Wake County Recycling Center and pick up a bunch of flat panel or projection TVs and work on those. They got pallets of them.
Well, last time I was down there, they said get away from it. You can't touch any of that stuff.
Oh, and I know. I'm being facetious about it, but yeah, it's amazing the stuff that's been discarded. I actually spent time. This is years ago. Remember this, Amnon, when I actually replaced the microfluorescent tubes in a laptop?
Yeah.
Oh boy,
Yep.
that's something that you're not supposed to be able to do it. And I found instructions online. This is a good 7 or 8 years ago
Right.
when I had a laptop that just the tube went bad, and I replaced the inverter, and that didn't fix it. So it had to be the actual microfluorescent tube.
Right.
But
Well, with an oscilloscope, you could have known that without taking out the inverter.
yeah, I used to have a scope, and I sold it probably 10 years ago.
I've got a good one.
Yeah,
But
I had a good
by the way,
electronics.
in the chat, Tim is saying that you can boot camp Windows as well on Apple, and I read an article that pretty soon, I don't know when it's boot camp is not going to work for anything but Windows 8 and above, Windows 8.1 and above. Just so, I mean, it reminded me when I saw it.
Mm-hmm.
I know
It's
one guy in
interesting.
particular who's running Parallels to run
Yeah, Tim,
Windows
read.
on-
Go ahead
on Mac.
and check on it. And they said that boot camp is
Yeah.
not.
But here's my point about that. We dog on Apple a lot, justifiably so, because, and I figured out, it occurred to me this past week what I dislike so much about Apple, and it is they have turned their fanboys into rude, arrogant asses, and that's what I don't like about Apple. It's something to enjoy what you're doing, but to criticize everybody else's stuff as junk or crap whenever it's walking the dog and owning the market that you'll never have. That's kind of arrogant to do that, and that's what I don't like is people being asses about their stuff. But anyway, getting back to this website where they are getting into what happened was back whenever motherboards, you will remember that motherboards started dropping like flies, and it turned out to be the bad cap problem, bad capacitor. You could see the bubbled caps on the motherboards. If you replace those capacitors on the motherboards, then the board would come back to life. I had 3 IBM desktop computers that had bad caps in it, and I took the motherboards out, sent them to a guy out in Oklahoma. He repaired them, sent them back, shipping and everything included, $50 a piece, and those computers are still running. But it was a industry-wide problem, and a guy who was involved in that created a website called badcaps.net and got all into how to do it and what to look for and what sort of this or that or the other. Anyway, as that problem abated somewhat, as the major manufacturers got away from a lot of the bad cap problems, which are still very abundant, by the way, he started getting into other things that involve bad caps. And if you go there, they are very much involved in fixing televisions and LCD monitors. Excellent, excellent information. Schematic diagrams. There are places that there are guys who have been authorized service centers for certain monitors that have posted schematics they're not supposed to post on certain protected websites, so that you can get the information you need to try to fix it, if you can get the parts and if you can have the rework tools to do the surface mount devices and so forth. But these guys at badcaps.net are, if you go there and go into the laptop repair, guess what you'll find? People are fixing Apple computers, and I thought they just worked. I didn't realize they ever broke. And if you look at the number of ones being serviced proportionally compared to PCs, they're just, the instances of them failing are just as high as they are for PCs.
Yeah, but you can't just replace the motherboard in an Apple like you can do in a PC because of the
No, they're
cost. So
fixing
they
the
fix it.
No, but you know what though? But here's the difference, Mike. When your MacBook, something breaks on your MacBook, you bring it back to the Apple store. They don't give you a hard time. They just fix it.
Unless they want $800 for a new motherboard and it's got a 30-cent bad capacitor. Other than that, it's a great deal.
Oh, I'd say a majority of the time that's not the case.
Well, there are
Many-
plenty of people.
Of course, there's plenty of people, but it depends. There's a lot of, you can walk into an Apple store, and if you have a problem, I'd say you've got a 50-50 shot that they just hand you a new computer. I mean,
Don't
not all
argue
the
with
time.
that.
It's
That-
it's a it's a call of the manager of the
Right.
of
Exactly. So
not
that's why I don't think you hear as much. So what happens if the Lenovo laptop has a problem? You're gonna call their support. You're gonna have to send. They're gonna send you an RMA. You're gonna
No,
have to pay for. No.
no, no, no. If you bought a business laptop,
Well, yeah, but I don't
wait,
know
hang
how
on.
business laptops work.
Let's be straight here. If you bought a business laptop from Lenovo, which is probably twice the price of a consumer laptop, but still half the price of an Apple, you get next day service at your house.
Okay,
and
well,
it's a 3-year warranty too, right?
Yes.
what about consumer though? Does
Consumer,
MacBook-
you'd have to take it back to Home Depot and let them, Office Depot, and let them send it off for you probably.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that's why I don't think you hear the problem as much, because there's people that go walk into an Apple store
No.
and they.
No, the problem is that Mac people are embarrassed to admit that what they're talking about is pure BS.
Oh, I think that's also part of the problem. But seriously, think about that, Mike. If you got a bad computer, you have a bad Lenovo consumer computer. You're gonna go all over. You're gonna go on, and there's a problem with it. Lenovo support's not doing what they should be doing. What are you gonna do? You're gonna go on Twitter. You're gonna complain. It's gonna be public. You're gonna see the public complaint. You have a bad MacBook and you go to the Apple store and they replace it. Who cares? You're not gonna post a single thing about it.
Nick, don't misunderstand me here. If I have I have a Mac computer, if I have one and I take it in there and they say, "Oh, we're going to make good on it," and I walk out of there with a working computer, excellent customer service. They deserve every accolade they get for
Exactly.
providing that. Absolutely, unequivocally. Now, having said that, I dealt with IBM before they became Lenovo. I've dealt with all of my computers here are Lenovo. I love Lenovo computers. Don't like everything about them, but I like Lenovo computers. I have never had anything but stellar service from Lenovo.
Okay,
There
let me break here a second. When is the last time you used that same day service from Lenovo at the house?
Never.
Never. Let me tell you how it works. Because I used to do it years ago for companies. Within 4 hours, somebody will be there to look at it and to see what's wrong with it. And then you order the part, and it'll take 2 or 3 days to get the part. And then you go there and you replace the part. And if that didn't fix it, you order another part. It can take 3-4 weeks. I would rather have that machine sent to the company to have it repaired, because it'll be faster. Because the people that they are using to go to do that same day are just local contractors that want to make extra money, and they say, "Yeah, I'll go do it." It's not a Lenovo employee or somebody who works for Lenovo who knows everything about it that's going to come and look at your computer.
I
So,
guess it depends on what percentage of the time they fix it quickly.
right.
They
I
may
mean,
have some basic parts with them. We used to do that with in the days of IBM service for certain office equipment. They would have a truck that would roll. Wouldn't be an IBM guy, but it would have a mix and match of parts, and they could fix certain things.
right. That's
So it depends on what they have on. If it's a power supply, they'll have that. If it's a disk drive, they'll have that.
right.
But if they can't
If
do
it's
a easy swap,
If it's a component, no way to
Yeah.
do that.
yep.
So,
Well, let's compare though. If you take let's assume that we're in a situation where Apple is going to give you extraordinary customer service like you expect from them.
what do you call extraordinary? You
What I
see, you
call
said
extraordinary-
you said something before that doesn't happen. If I can take my computer to the Apple store and walk out with satisfied that it was fixed, I'm happy. That doesn't happen in all cases. Sometimes they
No.
want to keep it and send it out.
Well, no, hang on though.
Okay.
Hang on. What
All right.
I'm saying
Okay.
is, let's assume the best of all scenarios. What I'm saying is, let's give Apple the absolute benefit of the doubt. Let's assume it's not one of these situations where you've got to talk the manager into doing it because it's a year out of warranty. It's just no issues at all. Apple says, "All right, it's our problem. We're going to fix it." The best of all scenarios, they don't have the part.
So,
it's going to be the next day at earliest before you're going to get your computer
Correct.
fixed. You can't fault them for that.
No, you can't. They
Now,
cannot.
the reason
They
I say
cannot
that, Amnon,
stock everything.
is a number of years ago, and I don't remember where. I've been sitting here trying to figure out where it happened. But a number of years ago, I did have an issue with an IBM or Lenovo. I don't remember which one it was, computer. It was not the next day on-site service. It was not part of the package, but it was a warranty situation. I'm on the phone with IBM or Lenovo.
Mm-hmm.
We spend, as I recall, less than 15 minutes discussing the problem. And the guy says, he says, it's a motherboard problem. You're not going to be able to fix it. And I said, well, what do we need to do? And he said, you're going to have to put a new motherboard in it. And I said, well, what's the warranty procedure on that? He said, you will have one by 10:30 tomorrow morning. It was in the afternoon. You'll have one by 10:30 tomorrow morning. The such and such company over there will install it for you. And actually, I take that back. I remember where it was now. And it was, he said the motherboard will be at this location tomorrow at 10:30, and our guy will be in before, it was either 12 or 1 o'clock to install it. He did. He came in, he installed it, solved the problem, move on down the road.
That was not a laptop.
No.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no,
This. I mean,
no.
we did that a lot with desktops, the motherboard, serial card, whatever. But the point is that you don't. I mean, the business, quote unquote, doesn't mean that you get it repaired faster. Somebody will be there faster, and maybe it makes you feel better, but really the repair is going to take just as long. And many times taking it in, if there is a place to take it in, they can fix it. I mean, I'm sure if you take a laptop with a bad and the CD is bad, or the laptop, or if there's a floppy on it or a memory, and you take it to Best Buy, as much as we think that the Geek Squad is worthless, certain things they can check right away and maybe replace. I'm not talking from experience there. I don't know that would happen, but it seems that exchange pieces like that could be fixed right away. And for somebody that doesn't know how to do it themselves, when it's out of warranty or this is what you do. You take it to the store where you bought it, and if they have service, and Best Buy is one of those that do have service, you may be able to get it fixed real quick. And at the same time, it may take 2-3 weeks because they have to send it away.
Yep. My daughter,
So
I bought my
it's,
daughter a laptop of 4 or 5 years ago. I don't remember if it was Toshiba or what brand it was. It may have been Compaq, HP. I don't remember what it was. Actually, I do. It was HP. And it was in warranty. It would not boot. I took it back over to Best Buy. They checked it out at their little desk there, and they said, well, nothing we can do. Got to send it off. And they sent it off. It came back in. It's been working fine ever since. It was like a week or more to get it back. But the one good thing that they did that was very appreciative but not expected is when the computer came back, they had not wiped out the hard drive.
Well, you see, again, like when I sell a computer and something goes wrong with it, if the customer brings it back, if it's the motherboard and the motherboard is still available locally, if it's current, then I fix it same day. I don't want to keep it here. So I'll go to Draymond and I'll pick up another motherboard because I have warranty on it, or if I don't, then I pay him for it and put it in. It's easy to replace these things. Would I do a cap on it? No, I won't. I don't know how to, and I don't think it's worth it. I charge an hourly rate, and the hourly rate in many cases is more expensive than to replace the whole motherboard. So you do, certain situation, like I said, it will work. But anyway, oops, what happened to Spence?
But
I
here's the
didn't
thing:
see-
it's
I
the
didn't
same
see
thing
it.
with it's the same thing with cell phones.
Yes, it is. There you
Look,
go.
so
Oh, Mike
I
has
would
had a good
I would
experience
say
with that.
I would say a quarter of the reason I purchased an iPhone is because of the shitty experience. I'm sorry, the experience I had with Samsung trying to get my phone fixed after the screen cracked. It was a terrible experience. Awful. No, yeah, no. Send it in. We'll fix it 3 to 4 weeks. Oh, okay. So I'm sorry. I can't. I'm not gonna have a cell phone for 3 to 4 weeks because that's reasonable in today's society. I mean, just
Yeah, well,
so that was part of the reason. If I smash my phone screen today, I could go to the mall, 15 minutes, I'd have a brand new phone. Brand new phone. 15 minutes. I have a brand spanking new phone.
Right.
Not in every case. There are cases where Apple hang you out to dry.
Well, it depends. Yeah, if your phone's 3 years old, then yes.
No, it just sometimes there are plenty of stories, and understandably so, where you got to go in and jump up and down and threaten to bring a magnet in there and pull all this fishing tackle out of their employees' ears and noses and all that crap.
But I mean, it's part of I think for the MacBook, Mike, it might be part of the price. You're paying for that. If your computer dies, there's a chance you walk into that store and you're getting a brand new computer.
I understand, but also what I am telling you is that there are plenty of stories that I have seen one-on-one where, and particularly because remember, I'm a member of a 4,000 lawyer group where a lot of these, more than 5% of them are probably using Macs. It's a good audience. They're intelligent people, not necessarily technical in their approach to computers and so forth, but these people go in and the most recent one I remember was a lady. She was a single mom, had a teenage daughter. She struggled, bought her daughter a MacBook Pro. She used it for school, and something went wrong. They took it back over to Apple, and they wanted $800 for a logic board or whatever they call it. And as I recall, it was definitely less than 3 years old. And as I recall, it was not long out of warranty. So Apple was within their right,
Yeah.
but it was not one of these, oh, Apple doesn't worry about that warranty stuff. They just support their stuff, but it just works anyway. And I'm just sitting there saying, okay, here we go. I mean, you were probably one of these arrogant snobs who was out bragging about how they just work. Well, have at it.
Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, I have I don't know, I have peace of mind knowing that if there's something goes wrong, if I drop my phone and the screen cracks, there's a pretty decent chance I'm gonna get either the screen replaced or get a brand new phone from Apple. And I like having that, and not having to send my phone to Austin, Texas, and hope to God I get it back, in a month.
Well,
That's what
right.
Samsung's options were.
And I'll bet they are keeping things that are going bad a lot, broken glass sitting on it, dropping it. They keep those and they can fix it right away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like having.
Yeah.
I like. It's nice to be able to have that, especially since me being a high schooler, having to be so connected.
Right.
Seriously, I could not live without a phone for 4 weeks. I mean, there's just too many things I have to do during the day that involve me using a phone.
I can't find that little bitty tiny violin I was going to play.
I just had an interesting experience here. I actually had a blue screen from Windows 8.1.
Wait, it's not. Isn't it a green screen that says like "sorry" with the little sad face?
I had with a little sad face and download. It's actually saving information, and it was something about a video scheduler. So it rebooted. Took a while on its own, and now I'm just noticed that when I restarted XSplit, it popped up and said this update is recommended for Windows 8.1. So now I'm loading that. So I'm probably going to have to drop for a minute because it requires that I shut down Chrome, and I'll be back.
Yep.
But yeah, that's the first time I've ever seen a blue screen from Windows 8.
Well, it's good to have
Sorry.
that experience, Spencer. It's a shame it happened right at this moment in time, but it's good that you experienced it.
It's a happier experience because they actually have a little face there, and it's a different color. It's not the same old blue. So
Woohoo.
I
So-
feel some. It's just a warm experience compared to the old experience.
Hey,
I wonder
Steve.
if anybody in chat can help me with this.
Oh,
Is
go ahead.
it worth buying Apple Care for my iPhone? Because I know they come with a year warranty, right? Is that still the same?
Personally, I'm totally against any kind of extended warranty.
Okay.
If I was
I'm
gonna
only
buy
gonna
it,
have. Yeah.
I'd probably. It depends on what you want. If you want just replacement, I'd probably go with Square Trade.
Fair trade. Okay.
How much is Apple Care, and what does it cover?
I don't know what Apple Care covers. I don't even know. Apple Care is Apple's 1-year limited warranty.
You need to
And
look at
that
the
probably
price.
does. Sorry.
You need to look at the price very carefully. A lot of them are really overpriced to a silly extreme.
Well, Apple Care's only $100, but here, but I'm realizing this. I get a new because AT&T doesn't offer it anymore. I'm on AT&T Next or whatever. So I'm pretty sure I get a new phone in. I think it's
It's usually 2 years.
yeah. Now mine's less than I did the less than 2 years. I think it's
Then you pay
Nick-
the extra fee.
yeah. I
to-
think it's
yeah.
16 or 18 months is my update. So
Nick, Tim
by
is
the
at-
time the Apple
Tim is asking you who's your provider.
AT&T. But it says I have your product is covered for eligible hardware repairs and under Apple's limited warranty until December 10th.
I would look to see if it covers replacement for stupid stuff like dropping it in water or driving over it, which it's probably not going to cover.
But this
Unless
is
you-
interesting. My friend got an iPhone 6 Plus, put a dent in the back of it. He knew they wouldn't replace it if he put a dent in the back of it. So he went to the mall, sat in the parking lot with a pair of needle nose pliers, ripped the screen off of his phone, went into the store, and they completely replaced the phone. Like, I mean, that it's so weird. It's even here it says it doesn't say expiration date. It says estimated expiration date. They're so lenient on their stuff. I don't even know if it's worth it. I'm gonna have a new phone in 18 months. I mean, let's say I crack my screen and have to deal with it for what, 4 or 5 months?
Look at Square Trade and compare it.
Well, I have Square Trade now, or I had Square Trade on my old phone, and I never actually. I don't even think I ended up using it.
I've used them once, but it was not for a phone. It was for a television, and the service was excellent. They sent a guy to the house with every part that could possibly be replaced in the television, except for the screen itself.
So Tim is
And-
saying bring it to AT&T. My
Replace
phone's
it.
not broken. This is just all.
Yeah.
I don't know how it works in the US, but in the UK, very often things like that, portable devices, are covered on your home insurance policies.
Not here.
Not here.
Okay.
I'll be back. I'm going to restart to get export money.
Okay.
Okay, Frank.
I just think it's interesting. I mean, I think I got my phone in December, and I don't know what the AT&T Next.
You think about it, $100 for peace of mind. You think, yeah, that's not too bad spread over a year. But then if you're going to have that for 2 or 3 years, that's $300.
Well, but here's the thing. It comes with a year free, or you get a year of their protection, or whatever it's called. I don't know what the name of it is. So you get a year, and the Apple Care extends you by a year. I think that's how it works.
Okay.
So in that case, it's useless.
The point here, Steve, is that if Nick cannot live without his phone for a week or 2 weeks,
Yeah.
then the $100 a year is worth it.
No,
When you break it
Seriously,
down
no,
to-
I'm not being sarcastic. It all
Well, so
depends.
I get it.
You have to break the cost down. If you look at what the cost is generally for a lot of these extended warranties or care products, whatever they're called, in comparison to the cost of replacing the phone, they're outlandish prices, really silly. But if it's peace of mind that you want, then yeah, how much is peace of mind? Can't put a
Yeah.
price on.
All right, let's switch.
Hey, Amnon, I want to finish one other thing before we get off the subject.
All right.
There is one part about Lenovo that I really don't like.
They're
And
Chinese.
that is, I was trying to figure out what this connector is, but they have gone to a somewhat proprietary power supply connector for their desktop computers. If someone brings a Lenovo computer in for repair, if it's a bad power supply, and once you diagnose it, then you go grab one off the shelf to put it in to replace it.
Yeah.
connector won't fit.
You're talking about desktops?
Yep.
Really? What
Yep.
kind of cable do they have?
They've
What-
gone
what's-
to a 14-pin connector instead of a 24-pin connector.
From where to where?
From where it connects onto
Oh,
the
from
motherboard.
power supply. Oh, from what to what?
It goes from a 24 to a 14. The 24 is on the standard ATX power supply.
Yeah.
The 14-pin connector is the one they use on the motherboard.
I'll be damned. I wonder if there are converters.
Are you looking at my video?
Yeah. Oh, it is a converter. That's right.
I had to order it out of Hong Kong.
Well, that's fine. I mean, you go and you order. I mean, what was it? $1, $2?
$20.
Come on, from Hong Kong?
Really?
Yep.
My.
Because nobody else is making them. They know they got you.
Hmm.
And the problem, you'd say, well, I'll just go ahead and get one of their power supplies. Lenovo wants about $100 for their power supply, and it's only a 250 watt, 275 watt supply. When a 450 will fit, but you can't get your hands on one. So people gamers are buying these to be able to put beefier power supplies in their computers.
One thing I didn't notice with my Lenovo laptop, while we're still on Lenovo, is I thought it would have had a mic in and an earphone out, but it doesn't. It just has one in-out socket, which is
It's
infuriating.
called a combo jack, and they're all doing that now, and it's using the TRRS, which it does have a microphone input and a headphone output, but you do not have a line input.
But how does it know what you're plugging in? If you're plugging in a stereo plug, how does it know it's a speaker or a mic?
Because if you look at the way the contacts line up, it knows the tip. I forget exactly where it is. I believe it's one of the two center tips is the microphone.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at a standard earphone jack and you plug in, it shorts out those pins that are not used, but it doesn't hurt them.
Right. Okay. Gotcha. Thanks.
If you look at a diagram between the two, it makes sense. It's well thought out. It's just unfortunate though, because I don't like those combo jacks at all.
I don't. I would sooner have a headphone out and a mic in separate. But I can't because it doesn't have that. So never mind.
Well,
Carry on.
a $4,000 Mac Pro doesn't have an audio a line input on its internal sound card, from what I've been told.
Well, it doesn't need one, does it? It's a Mac.
Hey, Mike. Mike,
Yes, I'm not.
eBay, 24-pin to 14-pin power supply ATX cable for Lenovo, blah, 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 $5.16 from China.
Now, I've had this
Well.
over a year,
Oh, okay, well.
and and I take it back. It wasn't 20. It was closer to like 14. It was over $10.
okay.
It was very
Yeah.
expensive for what you got.
Yeah, but it's a lot. No, it's cheaper than a power supply. That's what you
Well,
need to look at.
No, but see, this is the misnomer here. It's not just to save money on buying a power supply. It offers two things. One, it allows you to install a power supply that you can't get from Lenovo.
Right.
All right, that's one. And number two, it allows you to get an aftermarket supply and put in there because you need it now and not when you can find one that with Lenovo's name on it.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest complaint I have against Lenovo. But you know what? Now for what you said, $6, the problem is solved. So on to more important
That's
things.
it. And I'm surprised nobody else in town would have them. I would have thought that maybe. What happened?
You're muted, Mike.
No. Post that link, Amnon, that you found on eBay.
Oh shoot! I just closed it. I
Go
just went to eBay and I searched Lenovo 24 to 12 cable, and the first thing that came 24 TO 12 cable.
Pretty good since it's a 14-pin connector.
Well, that's what came up. It said it's for Lenovo. Blah blah blah.
SATA 20. No, let's see. SATA 24-pin male to 14-pin male female adapter for Lenovo IBM PSU. $328 plus $1.90 shipping.
Yeah, I don't remember. I mean, I didn't look at the thing. I mean, they're $5 and $3 and $4. But yeah,
Which is what they should sell for because they're really cheap to make and they're really
Right.
cheap connectors.
and they're from China.
Yeah, here we go. If you did 24 to 14, it'll bring up. But I'm going to buy a couple of these because I've got a bunch of Lenovo computers. And okay, here we go. I'm looking on eBay now at the link that I'm looking at, and if you scroll down, you will see one from a company called Mod DIY. That's who made mine. They were the first people to come out with them, and it's from Hong Kong, and they're $18.99.
Well,
And I will guarantee you that the $18.99 cable is not one penny better than the 328 cable.
I agree.
Same thing.
Okay. Steve,
Hello, Amnon.
recently, Take Dirt noted that the FBI may soon have permission to break into computers anywhere on the planet. It will come as no surprise to learn that the US's partner in crime, the UK, granted similar powers to its own intelligence services some time back. What's more unexpected is that it has now publicly said as much. As Privacy International explains, the British government has admitted its intelligence services have the broad power to hack into personal phones, computers, and communications networks, and claim they are legally justified to hack anyone, anywhere in the world, even if the target is not a threat to national security nor suspected of any crime. That important admission was made in what the UK government calls its quote-unquote open response to court cases started last year against GCHQ. Did you hear about that?
Yep, I did, and I just read it with my chin on the desk, going, "What on earth? Unbelievable!" I mean, what makes them think they have any kind of jurisdiction anywhere else in the world?
Well, I mean, one thing that I can say, what's the big deal? It's the same as when we go with guns. The criminals can get them and can shoot them, and they kill people and all that. There are criminals that are breaking into computers all over the place without permission. So giving the law enforcement that right, I mean, yeah, it's how do you monitor it or how do you balance? I don't know, but why would they need to?
It's wide open to abuse, isn't it? There's no oversight on it, and
That's the
there's
problem.
No reason for them to report what they're doing because it's GCHQ. You don't have to know.
Yeah.
So there's no control over it. It's basically they've been given a carte blanche authority to do what they like when they like.
Do you know of any cases in the UK where the fact that they did get into a computer helped solve a crime, prevent a crime, anything like that?
No, not that I've read anywhere.
No.
I do read Tech Dirt myself, and certainly there's in the US. I'm not sure which department it is, but very often they'll instigate and purport to be part of a crime that try and gets people involved in it and get them G'd up and get them all worked up to the point where they agree and they'll do things that could potentially be a terrorist act or something against the government or something illegal, but it's all been perpetrated by the FBI or one of the higher up agencies. It wasn't in any way a threat at all because they instigated it to begin with.
Yeah.
And it looks like the UK is going to be doing exactly the same thing to try and trap people. To
apparently,
justify that the jobs they're doing are worthwhile, when in fact all they're doing is creating the problem themselves.
Apparently, they are ahead of us on this because they already done it, and they're talking about the FBI may soon have that permission.
Well, it's whatever the GCHQ do over here, to get around any law that there may be they haven't changed yet, they give to the NSA, for them to search through all the information and glean what information they need from it, and vice versa. The NSA give JCHQ all the stuff to do with the American people. The UK sift through all the data and everything else, and then give them the results back. Thereby, they're not breaking the laws in respect of doing searches and checking on their own citizens, because they just give it to the other side.
Yeah.
Insane. Absolutely insane.
Tim is saying, can anyone call the ACLU, please? You can't, because they were hacked.
I wonder who
Sarcasm, Tim. No, I mean it's I don't think there is a way to escape it. I
There
really
isn't,
don't.
And there's no accountability. I mean, EFF have been, Electronic Frontier Foundation have been trying to get details and specifics of
Yeah.
some of these things that they've been
Yeah,
up to, and they're just being stonewalled.
that's the key word. Trying to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're throwing their lawyers and a lot of money at it, and are getting zero back in response. And or
Right.
basically the answer is you don't need to know. Shocking.
I don't understand why they came out saying that they can do it.
Well, because they've changed the laws to say they can. They've manipulated and interpreted the laws in such a way, the ones that they can't, that there's going to be big public outcry about, then they just reword it slightly so that they are covered.
Oh, so it's like, shut up, people. We can do it. So stop all this talk, all this nonsense.
Yeah,
About-
stop your whinging and whining. We're doing
Yeah.
it whether you like it or not. And if you're going to create a fuss, then we'll just interpret it the way we want it to be.
Yeah.
So you've got no recourse.
Well, we'll see what happens here.
The problem is the longer we let it go on, and the more we let them get away with it in stronger terms, the more they think they can get away with it.
And the
So,
harder And the harder
It's
it
good.
is to reverse it.
yeah, you're not going to be able to change it. You can do something to affect change before it happens, but it's almost impossible to do it after it's happened.
Yeah. Another interesting article here. MRIs show our brains shutting down when we see security prompts. The MRI images show a precipitous, how do you say it?
Well, you've got me now.
Precipitous.
Precipitous.
Drop in,
Precipitous.
I don't know,
That word.
precipitous. Drop in visual processing after even one repeated exposure to standard security warning, and a large overall drop after 13 of them. Previously, such warning fatigue has been observed only indirectly, such as one study finding that only 14% of participants recognized content changes to confirmation dialog boxes, or another that recorded users clicking through 1/2 of all SSL warnings in less than 2 seconds. You know, all these pop-ups that come up, and I mean, I get a lot of these calls from people saying, I was doing this and I saw a pop-up that said you need to do this and that. I said, well, what program told you to do that? He said, I don't know, it was a pop-up. And I just click no. People don't read these things, just like they don't read the ones when you install programs, when they're adding adware or whatever you want to call it, crapware, to your computer, and you have to opt out of it. And
Well, the thing that gets me with a lot of those pop-ups, I think when you get a pop-up, invariably, if you're typing something, and a lot of people don't look at the monitor when they're typing because they have to look at
that's true too.
look at the keyboard. Very often you get a pop-up. Well, if you've hit enter when you're typing something, or you've hit O for OK, then you've basically accepted it, even though you didn't see what it was.
right.
And I think that's always been a big problem. It should be something that if you get a pop-up, you physically have to move your mouse to that window to activate it before you click OK. That shouldn't become the point of focus.
And you should really read the top line to see which program told you that.
Yeah, it ought to have a description on it. But
right.
when you're typing on,
go ahead, Steve.
Sorry, I hit the button and muted myself. Then you need to either have a sound, not all of them do, or you have to physically move the mouse to activate that window. It shouldn't just automatically accept an enter or an O for OK. That's totally wrong.
We were talking about it in the past, that you really need to know your computer and to know what programs you're using, because if you're using Security Essentials and something pops up and said you need to scan, we found all these viruses, and on the title bar of that box it said something other than Security Essentials, then you know that this is a problem. And in many cases, if you click no or if you click X, whatever you click is just as though you clicked OK. So at that point, you need to close your browser and start it again. Close the browser. Don't close that pop-up. And it's even better to go ahead and at that point run CCleaner so it takes out all the temporary files and then start again. But
that's a good point, Amnon, when you say close the browser, because sometimes when you click the X on the pop-up to close it down, it still does what it's
exactly. They program it so whatever you click in that box, it is like as though you said yes.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So, but it's interesting that a lot of people don't even pay attention, or they said that our brains shutting down when we see security prompts, and this is from a study from observing people. We see, and also that problem is also because a lot of these pop-ups that some of the antivirus, anti-malware are giving you, many times they are so not important that you just get used to them and you don't pay attention when it is an important one. So like right now I use Avast. I like Avast. And you go in and you go into the settings and you tell it that you don't want any notifications, any of that, no pop-ups, no. So only the correct pop-ups come up. If you're using the free one, you cannot tell it not to show you the pop-ups, but you can lower the duration to 1 second on certain ones, and the important ones you can leave up for 10 seconds or 20 seconds. And I'm sure the other free or paid for antivirus, anti-malware will probably have the same thing. But it's just a matter of interacting with the computer, not just brushing it aside. You know, you're working and you, from your peripheral vision, you see something popping up on the lower right, and you just keep on doing what you're doing because you know that it's something unimportant, or you think it's something unimportant.
Generally speaking, if you get a pop-up, pay attention to it. Don't just think, oh, yeah, it's just that. We get them regularly through the day. Pop-ups and programs that are going to try and do something bad to your system are designed to look like the stuff that happens all the time. So don't take it for granted. Just spend that extra, second just to make sure it is what it appears to be.
Mm-hmm. So Spence, everything okay?
Yeah, just frustrating.
What is?
I wound up loading a new driver too. I got an alert when I rebooted after installing XSplit saying there's a problem with your video driver, but it did give me. It opened up the problem center and then it offered me options like check Windows Update, check the NVIDIA site automatically, check NVIDIA for manual download. So it went through all those options, and I manually downloaded the driver, installed the driver. It appears to be fine now, but
Okay.
that was strange. Yeah. Strange.
Get a Mac.
What's
Can-
that?
Mike
So
said,
Get a Mac.
Yeah.
Can you imagine, though, Spence, how much more frustrated you would be if you didn't have that smiley face on the error window?
Oh yeah. Oh, well, it was actually a sad face, but it was
Right.
it was an empathetic sad face.
Oh, good.
any of you notices that Mike's video flickers every now and then?
I noticed that audio was jittery every so often.
No, I mean,
heard-
you catch it from your peripheral vision. So what was that? And then when I look at the monitor here, which is delayed, I see that it's coming from Mike. It's like his video. You said something about video driver,
No,
and it's
I didn't
only
notice it.
happening with Mike's. I don't know, but anyway. So do we have specials?
We do, and I sent them up.
So keep you guys carry on. Let me go and fix it.
Keep calm and carry on. Absolutely. Well, there was an interesting story I think that everybody would appreciate here is that I think his name is it Mark Kelly, the astronaut who just went into space over the weekend
Yeah.
to go to the International Space Station for 1 year.
And his
And
twin
they-
brother. Yeah.
Yeah, so they announced that they would be testing some type of new eye protection for the mission to Mars. Did you see that story?
I didn't see the eye protection part. I just saw that he was going.
Well, I have a preview of what it's going to look like. There it
Wow.
is right there. It's revolutionary. New eye
Okay.
protection. Yeah, it involves using different types of blue tape just to cover the eyes. And it actually, you see how it actually looks like it's invisible. It's special magic tape.
I'm pretty impressed.
Yeah. So they will put that tape over their eyes and they can see anywhere through the magic tape.
That's very nice.
Yeah, isn't that funny how normal it is now for somebody to say, oh yeah, he's going to go to space and live there for a year and do these tests and no big deal. So
It's
that
not
was
like
the
you can
problem
just.
with the space program back in the early 70s when we'd been to the moon several times and they canceled the last few flights because, so what? People didn't care. Been there, done that. Let's move on. Interesting. Notice that the Interstellar, the movie that was out, is going to be available on Blu-ray. I think it might be available now. But some people hated the movie. I actually liked it a lot, because it's kind of there were some things about it that you had to actually think about if you understood the elements of black holes and time and relativity and all that. It was a very interesting movie. Although they didn't explain a lot of things, they could have given a little more background, but I think they had to cut it down on the amount of time that the movie. It was well over 2 hours, and they just could not include all the detail they would need to explain everything. But I read the novelized script from the movie, and it explained a lot. But good flick if you like science fiction. Sorry, Steve, I interrupted you.
No, that's right. Buzz Aldrin has been in the UK in the last, I don't know, week, 10 days. And I saw an interview with him on British television. We had the partial eclipse in the last, I don't know, I'm a little bit behind catching up on TV, but say the last week or 10 days. And the interviewer asked Buzz Aldrin, What have you got to say? What do you think about all these people that will be staring up at the moon for this eclipse that's coming up? And he just replied, "Been there, done that."
Oh yeah, that
Very
was
good.
an interesting event. There was a eclipse, a what they call a supermoon, and a third thing was three things all at once, and I don't remember what the third thing was.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't remember. I know that the last full eclipse that we had, which was back in, I don't know, 2000, 2001 maybe. That was very eerie. I've never experienced anything like that in my life. I actually videoed it, um, and that the just went dark. You know, you just had the ring around the moon, and everything went dark by a huge amount of degrees, and everything was silent. Birds stopped tweeting. Everything. It was incredible.
Was it a full eclipse?
Yeah, that was back in, I think it was 2001, if I remember rightly.
Interesting, because I've never seen a full one. The closest I came to it was about 85%.
Now
Actually when I was a teenager, and it was eerie because it got visibly cooler, or you could definitely feel the temperature change. And like you said, it got real weird.
Yeah, everything just literally went silent. You didn't even hear any traffic from the main road further away. It was as if everything just stopped dead. Very, very strange.
The day the Earth stood still.
Apparently for the UK, the next one's going to be 2090, so I don't think I'll be able to see that one somehow.
Oh, yeah, well, you never know. Google wants to have life extension where you live 500 years.
Oh, I don't think I'd like that somehow.
No.
All right.
Everybody did, I suppose. It wouldn't be so bad, but if it was just select people, I don't think that would be nice.
If you can extend your life in a young body, that would be great. But what good is it extending it if you're in an old body?
You need to read the story of Faust before you decide you want to live forever.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to live forever.
Dorian Gray, right? The picture of Dorian Gray.
All right, the specials are up there.
More interesting topic. I've been doing some restorations on audio equipment, as I mentioned before, including guitar amplifiers. And I've had a couple of little interesting things here that I've done that you may or may not be interested in. If you look on the back of like say a guitar amplifier, and a lot of other equipment has it, TVs have it, so forth, you will see the power cord going into the metal chassis. This power cord has a little squeeze plastic bushing on it that squeezes on the connector and then goes into a D-shaped hole, or a hole with straight sides on either side, to keep it from rotating, and it keeps you from pulling the power cable out of the chassis. Does everyone know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yep.
I do.
Yep.
Does anybody not know what I'm talking about?
Keep going.
The big company who made them was called Hakko. Is called Hakko. They're called Hakko connectors. They are almost impossible to get out without boogering them up. And the way Amnon and I would do it in the past is we'd take a pair of large needle nose pliers, or even a pair of just regular pliers, and try to squeeze on just the tab that allows you to compress the fitting and pull it out. Well, every time you do that, it really boogers up the connector. If you're trying to maintain the look of the equipment, you don't want to do that. Well, it turns out that they make a tool, as you might expect, that allows you to remove these without boogering up the connector. And the way they do it is, if you can see right here, is these little teeth or tongs or grabbers go behind the connector and allow you to just grab the part that's going into the chassis, so it doesn't booger up the outward part of the connector. And you go in there and you squeeze that sucker and you can just pull it right out. And I've been fighting these things for the past 40 years, and I finally gave up and bought one of these tools, which I should have bought 40 years ago. And the reason I bought it is because I have several tools that I bought 40 years ago that I'm still using, that I paid $20 and $30 a piece for, that are now selling for $200, and people won't buy them, understandably so, because of the pricing. The little pair of pliers right there was $55.
Change.
And nothing to Nick, but I mean, to a guy like me, that's some serious money for a pair of pliers that ought to be about $10. And on another note, one of the things that I am refurbishing is my Sunn, S-U-N-N, Sunn Centura 2 guitar amplifier. And I could go into all the updates that needed to be done to it to make it current, but one of the interesting parts about it, and this just goes to show how involved people can get with a project when they make up their mind to do it. But this amplifier I got brand new in 1969, so it is what, 46 years old?
And
Well, things deteriorate over time, Amnon. And one of the things that deteriorates is the knobs on the front of it. And what happens with a lot of manufacturers, guitar amplifiers and otherwise, is they will have their own custom knobs manufactured so that they have their own look. Sunn did exactly that. They wanted to look like Fender amps, but they didn't want to be a direct copy. They went to a company, had a company produce a knob for them that had the look they wanted, had a little silver insert in the center of it, but instead of going from 1 to 10, it went from 0 to 10, because when you turn it all the way off, there's no audio going through it. It's all the way down. Well, Sunn has sold out in the 80s to Fender, and even before they sold out, they stopped using these knobs. And there are guys who have gone through refurbishing these things, you can still get power transformers for them, you can still get tubes for them, you can still get capacitors for them for the most part, and you never could get knobs. Well, this one guy out in Sean's neighborhood, out in Petaluma, California, had enough of it, so he did his research to find out the name of the company that manufactured the knobs for Sunn. And he found out it's a company called Rogan, R-O-G-A-N, Rogan Knobs in Chicago. He took one of his knobs, sent it to them, and said, do you still have the tooling for this knob? Yes, we do. Can you make these knobs? Yes, we can. How many do I have to order? 500. So he put together an order and ordered 500 knobs and has been offering them for sale to amp users for the past 7, 8, 9 years. He's fortunately still has some in stock. I couldn't find him. I would send him emails. He wouldn't answer. When I finally found him, sending him emails, he wouldn't answer. Finally, one day I sort of blasted him in a group, said, why don't you answer? And he said, most of the people who contact me about knobs are not wanting to pay my price for them, or they don't want to pay the shipping. And he said, I just got to where I started ignoring them. But anyway, I said, no, I'm serious. And I said, how much for 7 knobs? He told me. And the price I thought was it was expensive, but it was reasonable under the circumstances, considering he's lost money on the deal. And so anyway, here they are. I got 7 brand new knobs for a 46-year-old amplifier.
I don't need any. I'm
same
sorry.
Made in the same piece of equipment.
Amnon, I would just take a piece of wooden dowel and cut it into
Yep.
short lengths and drill a hole in the back and just hammer
Yeah.
it on, right?
Amnon would take one off of a toaster.
And you know, and
That's
they
it.
have to look correctly, because the people that are sitting in the audience are actually not looking or listening to the singer. They are looking at the amplifier to make sure that all the knobs are correct, right, Mike?
Exactly.
You-
Looking at the equipment. That's
You
right.
would be surprised, Amnon.
Oh, jeez.
They
How
don't,
much-
They don't
the-
watch the singer. Blimey, that's ridiculous. It's the equipment they've come to look at.
You would be surprised. If you don't believe it, you go
Right.
on Facebook and go to the Rickenbacker guitar group, and you tell me what people are looking
No, I
at.
mean, yeah, but you see, as a fan of singers, I don't go to Rickenbacker guitar group because I don't care about guitars.
Right. Well,
See,
we don't care
that's the
about singers.
point.
Yeah.
But that's
and we
okay.
don't
That's
care
all right.
about, and we don't care about military vehicles.
Exactly, and I don't sit here and talk about it for 20 minutes
You
either.
did too. You did too. You said you had to put brake fluid in it.
Now, Amnon, when was the last time you upgraded the firmware on the Deuce?
Yeah, right. Correct.
Right, you know, that's due for a firmware.
Specials
upgrade.
are in place.
In place? Okay, we're in place. In situ, we're ready to go. Where are we going?
In situ.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
Okay, so what was that video muting showing up? Oh, you muted your video?
What a
That's
what?
weird. I saw on the broadcast it showed the Google Hangout toolbar with video
Oh,
muted.
every time I go in and out of the screen, the Hangout, it brings it up. There's nothing I can do
Oh,
about that. There, you're
oh.
gonna see it again.
Fix it. Fix it.
Yeah.
All right. Computers 2K Now weekly specials for March 29th, 2015. I'm going to start with Office Depot, and they've got a couple of touchscreen computers on sale. These are entry-level machines, which was hard to say for touchscreens a year ago. But you've got an Acer 2-in-1 laptop. It's a 10.1-inch display, 2 gig of memory, 32 gig internal storage, touchscreen, convertible. It actually has a keyboard, can be detached, flipped around. This is for $229, save $70. That's an Intel processor. If you got a Dell Inspiron 15, this is a 15.6-inch laptop with 4 gig of memory, 500 gig hard drive, a touchscreen for $319.99. That's $160 off the regular price. Got USB 2.0 attaché, PNY attaché USB thumb drives. 16 gig for $7.99, save $12. 32 gig for $14.99, save $25. 64 gig for $29.99, save $40. They've got a Western Digital My Passport 1 terabyte portable USB hard drive for PC or Mac, $69.99 each. That's $20 off the regular price. I have a 2 terabyte version of that for $99.99, save $40. We've got, this is probably the deal of the day on a laser printer, Canon Image Class laser printer, wireless laser printer for $49.99. Save $110. Does not say whether it's duplex or not. Did not drill down that far. But a good deal on a wireless connected laser printer. 110 off. We've got Brother MFC wireless printer, scanner, copier, fax machine. This is an inkjet printer. 50 off for $99.99. We've got Brother laser printer, copier, and scanner. This has a multi-page sheet feeder built in, as well as a flat screen scanner. $129.99, save $50. Auto duplex and wireless. Toshiba Android tablet with Intel processor. This is a 7-inch display for $79.99. Save $20. Got some monitors on sale. Dell 20-inch LED for $79.99. Save $40. We've got an Acer 23-inch LED for $119.99. Save $50. And a Samsung 27-inch widescreen monitor for $219.99. Save $60. If you wanted to have a USB 3.0 thumb drive, they've got those on sale. 16 gig for $12.99, save $12. 32 gig for $19.99, save $25. 64 gig for $38.99, save $36. 128 gig for $74.99, save $20. Toshiba Satellite 15.6-inch Core i3 laptop. It's $349, save $240 off the regular price. That comes with 6 gig of memory and a 750 gig hard drive. Amped wireless high power compact Wi-Fi range extender. Now this works, plug it right into a wall socket and will repeat the signal. $64.99, so that's $5 off. And they also have a 600 milliwatt high power range extender. What's the difference here? Wireless high power, wireless N. Okay, so one is wireless N and one is not. The wireless N one is $89.99. That's $10 off. And they do have a dual band D-Link wireless access point router for $59.99. That's $10 off. Belkin Netcam Wi-Fi camera with night vision for $79.99. Save $20. And finally, we've got some deals on micro SD cards as well as regular SD cards. So we've got 16 gig for $12.99, save $27. 32 gig for $24.99, save $45, and 64 gig for $44.99, save 45. And this is a Class 10 SDHC card, fast card. That's all at Office Depot, Office Max. We now have Staples, where we have two machines for, I'm sorry, one machine from HP. It's a 15.6-inch laptop with a Core i3 processor for $379.99. That's $220 off. That includes, that's a combination of sale and rebate. They've got a Toshiba i7 15.6-inch laptop, 12 gig of memory, 1 terabyte hard drive for $599.99. That's $300 off. That's also a combination of sale price and rebate. Asus laptop with Intel processor. This is a 11.6-inch screen, 2 gig of memory, 32 gig hard drive, $199.99, save $50. They also have an Asus touchscreen 2-in-1 laptop with Intel processor. It's a 10.1-inch screen. It's a convertible tablet for $299.99, save $150. We've got a deal on an Epson Workforce 2630 wireless all-in-one printer for $79.99, save $20. Also have the Epson Expression XP820 wireless small-in-one printer, scanner, fax, copier for $149.99, save $50. Western Digital My Passport Ultra portable hard drives. This is actually a repeat of the same prices that we had at Office Depot, Office Max. 1 terabyte for $69.99, 2 terabytes for $99.99. This is a good deal on a 23-inch monitor from Samsung, $149.99, save $70. Dell laptop with Core i5 touchscreen laptop, $549.99, save $150. Lenovo laptop with Core i7. This is a good price. $599.99, save $150. 8 gig of memory, 1 terabyte hard drive. It's a 15.6-inch machine. Dell 24-inch wide LED monitor for $169.99, save $35. We've got a Memorex 8X Slim external DVD writer for $39.99, save $15. We've got a Canon color wireless laser printer for $159.99, save $120. And we've got Lexar USB 3.0 flash drives, 32 gig for $19.99, save $23, 64 gig for $34.99, save $40, 128 gig for $68.99, save $56. And finally, for Staples, we have Western Digital 3 terabyte USB desktop backup drive for $119.99 and a 4 terabyte for $139.99, save $30. That's all at Staples. And finally, at Best Buy, we've got a HP Pavilion 11.6-inch convertible touchscreen laptop with a Intel Pentium processor, $349.99, save $50, and that includes a 1-year Office 365 personal subscription. HP 15.6-inch laptop with AMD A8 quad-core processor. This is a good deal, and this doesn't say it's a sale. $299.99. That's a 15.6-inch screen. Also comes with 1 year of Office 365. Acer Aspire desktop Core i5, 8 gig of memory for $569.99, save $30. Dell 23-inch widescreen LED monitor for $149.99, save $50. AOC 19.5-inch LED monitor for $89.99, save $10. We've got the high-end Logitech wireless wave keyboard and mouse combo, $54.99. That's $25 off the regular price. Western Digital My Passport 1 terabyte USB 3.0 portable drive. Again, repeating that same sale, $69.99. So it's everywhere, $30 off. Target's dual fan lap chill mat cooling system. And this is a little more sophisticated than just having a panel that sits there at the bottom of the fan and at $29.99, save $10. APC 1080 VA battery backup system. This is a high capacity. It's got digital display on it. $119.99, save $30. We've got a Brother MFC 475 DW. This is a wireless inkjet all-in-one printer, scanner, fax, copier for $69.99, save $30. HP Envy 5530 wireless E all-in-one printer. It's a printer, scanner, copier for $99.99, save $30. Belkin dual band wireless range extender for $69.99. And we have two USB 3.0 or USB 2.0 and USB 3.0 flash drives from SanDisk. A 32 gig USB 2.0 flash drive for $11.99, save $18, and a 64 gig USB 3.0 drive for $27.99, save $32. And Amnon, this is for you. This is the I can't pronounce it. Withings Smart Body Analyzer. You step on this, it will tell you everything you need to know about your body for $149.99.
You're supposed to swallow it?
I don't know. It's pretty big to swallow. I'm not sure. I guess you hold it up
I
to
am
your
not
head or
I'm not putting it in the other.
It's not one of those little nano. What are they talking about? The nanites or nanobots that you swallow, and it goes in and analyzes your digestive system, whatever. We're all smart body analyzer. So, well, wait a minute. It wouldn't work for me because I don't have a smart body. So, oh well. And that's it for Best Buy.
Very, very good. Very, very, very good, senor.
There we go.
See. All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Oh, so you were away when we were talking about the NASA mission where they're at the space station for a year and they're going to test the new eye protection for astronauts when they go to Mars.
Yeah, I was in the other room.
Oh, well, you didn't see it. Oh well.
Well, it's all right.
Oh well.
So sort of like on the same, science development and all that goes. Much of what we buy never makes it out of the container and is instead thrown away. Up to a quarter of skin lotion, 16% of laundry detergent, and 15% of condiments like mustard and ketchup. Now, Kenneth Chang reports at the New York Times that scientists have just solved one of life's little problems. How to get the last little bit of ketchup or glue out of a bottle. Using a coating that makes the inside of a bottle permanently wet and slippery, glue quickly slides to the nozzle or back down to the bottom. The technology could have major environmental payoffs by reducing waste. Super hydrophobic surfaces work similar to air hockey tables. Tiny peaks and valleys on the surface create a thin layer of air between the liquid and the coating. The air decreases friction, so the liquid almost levitates above the surface, just like the hockey puck floats above the table. Liquiglide's approach is similar, but it uses a liquid lubricant, not a gas. What could be a solution that provides sort of universal slipperiness? The idea we had was, why not think about trapping a liquid in these features? Well, I'm not going to go. I mean, it's long, but it's interesting.
Isn't universal slipperiness? Isn't that a political thing?
Yeah.
How old is that article, Amnon? I seem to remember reading something or seeing something about that.
This is from last week.
Oh, okay. What they want to do is start coating glass with it for buildings, and they won't have to clean glass anymore.
What they don't tell you is that
the
cost of this new slippery bottle is like twice as much as buying a second bottle. So
yeah,
but that's not
the contents of the first original bottle.
But you know, you want to get all the ketchup that you can and the mustard out of the bottle. So, no, I mean it's neat. I mean, it may be expensive to begin with, but then it's going to be the norm.
I always.
I mean,
add a
you
little
mean
water
I'm not
to the
gonna?
ketchup.
You mean you don't have to hold the ketchup bottle and hit it and stuff to get the stuff out? It'll just you turn it over and it just comes
I
out.
just put a couple of drops of water in there and then loosen it up. That's all.
Yeah, turn it over and it go bloop.
It's
Don't
interesting.
don't tell anybody else you did that. And when they go to use the ketchup, it just pours out all over the place. That's all.
So last week, or the week before last, because this is from last week, the government decided that any publicly accessible website is going to use HTTPS. I wonder if how much of it they actually implemented. But they said that in an effort to close security gaps that have resulted in multiple security breaches of government servers, the administration on Tuesday introduced a proposal to require all publicly accessible federal websites to use the HTTPS encryption standard. The majority of federal websites use HTTP, like the rest of the world, as primary protocol to communicate over the public internet. Reads the proposal on the website of the U.S. Chief Information Officer. Unencrypted HTTP connections create a privacy vulnerability and expose potentially sensitive information about users of unencrypted federal websites and services. HTTP is definitely better. I mean, there's no doubt. But also HTTPS is better, more secure. But I don't know that you need it on everything. Also, it slows down the communications. Now, it's true with today's faster machines, faster connectivity, it's not a big deal, but it still slows things down. So
And what they're not saying is that the cost of the upgrade will be $16 trillion.
yeah, they're not
over
saying
the period of 30 years and will result in a massive tax hike.
right. Maybe I'll finally get to use that piece of hardware that I have here. Spence, what was it?
Oh, I remember. I'm trying to remember what that was called. Yeah, but the SSL accelerator.
Yeah,
Yeah. It actually did the SSL decryption in the box
right.
on the IC instead of doing it in your computer. Yeah.
Correct.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that
Yep.
was a interesting device. Load balancer / encryption device.
Yep.
Oh, the name is on the tip of my tongue. I can't think of it.
I'll tell you.
Well, whatever. But yeah, that was a hot item back when websites were exploding all over the place. It actually allowed you to create the concept of a virtual IP address, where you could have one virtual IP address presented to the world and then have multiple entities, machines, domains, whatever behind it, and it would all be available, bring new services online on the fly, add test out new sites without impacting the current site, just doing redirects and so on, load balancing, geographic distribution, things like that. It was pretty cool. Which is all done now.
It's
very
an
efficiently. Alteon.
Alteon.
That's it.
Yep. What is Alan saying, that the offline interface could not see the entire system?
His friend bought some Z-Modo or Z-Modo night vision cameras. And he's been having problems getting them set up and configured to work externally. for over the LAN. You can get it done. Sorry, I think only the iOS and Android on LAN apps work, but he couldn't get it to go through a computer, and toll-free numbers failed to work, and the interface is rubbish and stuff like that.
I have an inexpensive D-Link night vision camera that you can do it through their web service as a remote device. It works pretty good. I've had some trouble with it. Moving it around different networks isn't always successful, trying to reconfigure it. But if you use it locally, if it's on your network and you just connect to the web server built into it, it's actually pretty sophisticated. Does motion capture, will alert you. You can actually set up a grid on the screen to say where you'd like to select the motion, so it isn't just across the board. You say you're monitoring a space and you just want it to pick up the motion of a doorway or a window or something like that. You can do that so that the cat walks through the screen. It doesn't set off the email alerts and so on, or motion capture. That's actually pretty good. I think I paid $69 for the camera and the router that went with it. It was a good deal.
Hey, Spence.
Yes, sir.
I mean, I put that in the Hangout last week.
What's that? Oh,
What's it
radar
look like?
detector? Oh, it's a camera. Oh, what is the mounting on there?
It's
Oh my
for
gosh.
for a car.
Oh, so this is like what they have in the Soviet Union.
It's like a dashboard camera.
You ever notice that there seem to be a lot of interesting video clips that come out of the Soviet Union of
Yep.
accidents and strange things that happen on the road? Well, the reason they have that is they have such a high rate of insurance fraud that people have cameras mounted in their cars to save them money, because there's constantly.
Now look, it's got a 2.5-inch screen. That because it's blue, you can't
Right, I can see it's invisible.
see it. That whole thing was $7.
What?
$7. And it's a DVR. But you have to put
Memory card in it.
an SD card in there.
Right. What does it record at? What video?
I didn't read much
Resolution.
about it, but when the price, I
$7.
mean, Nick said right away, said, "So what, you're going to get a couple of Amnon?" I said, "Yeah, I think so." It
You
came
gonna
with
wear
a
a body
cable.
cam?
Well, I don't think it. I mean, unless you could stick it onto your. But it's. I mean, look at all the hardware that's involved here. It's got the suction cup. It's got, it's a nice toy to play with.
Infrared too?
Yeah,
Is that what it's? Yeah.
and it says that it's HD. I told Nick. I said, "Well, finally, maybe I'll convert to HD in the studio." Right, Nick?
Oh yes.
It's really, really neat. It comes with a battery just like you would have in a phone. One of those flat batteries. Came with cables to connect it to the cigarette lighter. The whole thing was like $6-7
Where'd you find it?
on eBay.
Does it have a tag on it? Stolen from?
And I mean, to tell you the truth, I don't know what I would do with it. I mean, you could take it and play with it. Tuesday. Anyway. Yeah, I'm not going to go into anything else. Anything you guys got?
I hate Google.
Uh-oh, what happened?
Their AdWords program is kind of BS, and I'm not liking it.
AdWords, the one you pay for.
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
what happened?
It's not good.
It's okay.
I'm
What
not,
what
I'm-
what
I'm
did
not
you
happy with the results.
what did you think it's supposed to happen?
It's supposed to display your ad, and it is displaying the ad, but I'm not happy with the results of the ads.
You mean with the return?
Correct. The returns are not good.
Forget it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but here's the problem. This guy needs work, and this is his business, and these ads aren't returning. He's not making money. I'm not doing anything.
Yeah, that's again, it's because so many people are using it.
Well, the problem is you got these big companies using
Yep.
it, and they're pumping thousands of dollars a day into it, and this
Yep.
guy's pumping 8.
Right.
So that's where the problem lies.
Yeah, but yeah, it's not Google's fault. It's just
That's just the way
it works. Yeah, that's the way it works.
Well, that's what I'm trying to. But I mean, how do you explain that to somebody?
You tell them exactly like what you just said.
No, I know that, Amnon. But how do you? Somebody is paying for me to do this for them, and how do I explain to them? Well, it only shows up sometimes. I mean, it's like, how do you explain that?
I wouldn't even get into it.
Well, yeah, when they ask why their ad isn't showing
Yeah.
up, what do I say? And that's the problem. How do you explain to somebody? Oh, well, you're paying, but
Yeah.
oh well, doesn't show up all the time. Like it puts me in a very uncomfortable situation because I feel like I'm screwing the guy, but I can't. I
Yeah.
have no control.
No, you have no control. Absolutely not.
I search
Not unless you have unlimited budget to really pump into it and
This is what I don't get. I'm on Google, not I wasn't not Google Incognito, so I'm signed into my regular Google account, my Gmail account. I search basement waterproofing Albany. The first ad says get a free estimate in Richmond, Virginia. Why is that showing up?
is that an ad on a different color background?
No, it's an ad. I can tell it's an ad.
Oh,
it has
okay.
the ad
It's-
icon.
it's-
But
it's
why
not a
is the
search.
ad get a free estimate in Richmond, Virginia showing up when I search basement waterproofing Albany?
Because he probably paid.
I understand he paid, but why is Google putting his ad there? For Richmond, Virginia.
I just did a search on basement waterproofing Albany, and I got one in Half Moon, New York. The second one in Cohoes, New York. The
No,
third,
look at the ads, not the addresses.
I know, but these are the ads at the top. These are the paid ones at the top.
What do you see? You see
And-
Adirondack basement, Rainbow basement?
I see the first one is Adirondack. The second one is Rainbow.
Those
third
aren't the
one-
ads. Those are the
Huh?
search. Those are the map results. Those aren't the ads. Before that, there should be ads. There should
There
be
are no
like
ads
30.
ahead of that.
What about on the right hand
Oh.
side?
I got AdBlock Plus. There's nothing on the right side either.
What about I'm running AdBlock Plus too, but it's not blocking ads.
Well, they're normally there. I don't know why they're not. Maybe there's just a problem with Google this morning.
Do it. Well, and this has been for like a week now. Can you?
Okay.
What if you do a refresh? Do you get anything?
I don't know. Let's see. Because it says down at the bottom, waiting for extension AdBlock Plus, but the page looks normal. So I do a reload, and there's nothing on the right side.
What about nothing on the top either?
Nope.
What name are you looking for, Nick?
I just did basement waterproofing Albany.
That's what but what are you looking for? What are you hoping to find?
BK Masonry.
Yeah, I don't see it.
Yeah, and it's just, how do I explain to somebody that's not?
Well,
How
I'll
do I
answer
explain to somebody that doesn't know how this thing works, that they're pumping money into this, but their ad isn't going to show up? I mean, how do I legitimately explain?
Well,
to
it
somebody
probably
that's not-
shows up, but
It
not
doesn't.
to some people. It does.
Oh, I
mean-
understand that, but I mean, I look like a crook.
no. Stop right there. What you're dealing with is you have to create the customer expectation. You have to tell them before you take their money, look, this is not a look, let
Already
me
did.
back up. Hang on, Nick. if you're a doctor and you say, you know what, I've got this pain in my stomach, the doctor says, I'm going to open you up. I can't guarantee you what I'm going to find. I can't guarantee you that I can fix it because I'm not in control of all of the variables that go into this equation. What you have to do is create the expectation. Now, when we buy this money, pay this money to Google, there is no guarantee that your ad is going to show up every time somebody does a search. We have to watch and see at the end of the
He-
day whether the amount of money spent is worth what you got. If it is, you keep doing it. If it's not, you stop doing it.
He can do it from now on. His dilemma is this is already a customer and he wants to
I
know how to
understand.
explain. That's
I understand. But you tell him you don't own Google. You can't control it.
Yeah. What if you guys do? What if you search this? Hold on.
The only thing you can do is say to him, "You're using an outside service and have no control over that. All you can do is,
No,
try
this
and use,
this guy's
use their
this guy's
system."
actually fine. Like he kind of understands it a little bit, but it's just this is somebody that advertises in the newspaper as well. They pay $150 a month. They're in the newspaper every week. There's no, oh, I'm in here sometimes. Oh, I'm not in here other times.
Right.
You pay and this is what people think. You pay for the ad is there. I mean, that's just kind of logical. Not how it works. Oh, and power flash. Okay.
The thing is, Nick, is don't feel that, or don't think that he may feel you're ripping him off, and don't feel badly about it yourself, because
I would think I was getting ripped off though. I mean, just seriously. I mean, this guy's pumping over $300 a month into this thing.
yeah, and he understands because he's advertised elsewhere before that he doesn't always get the return for the money he's put in. So as long as he trusts
in
you
this
and you've
case-
explained it well, then he's not going to think, oh, this guy's a rip-off merchant. He's going to think this guy's doing his best.
But in this case, the ad isn't showing up, so I don't know what to do. Like that's the
Well,
thing. Like
You just
Google
explain
is
that to him
garbage.
and say, I'm working with their system the best I can. Eventually it will start showing up, but there's no guarantee that I can bring it up in front of everybody every single time because
Exactly.
you're using somebody else's service.
Mhm.
You do what you can to get it viewed as by as many people as possible. All you can do is say your point on that, and then hope he doesn't feel that you're ripping him off.
Yeah.
Don't think badly yourself because you
No,
know
I-
you've done a good job.
Well, but am I? I mean, that's the thing. How is
Well, what else
everybody?
can you
how,
do?
That's what I need to figure out. What else can I do? It just everybody else is showing up extremely high. Why are we not?
How long have you been doing it?
It's been over a week now since we started the ads.
Give it time. These things take a little while to propagate.
They take a day to propagate. I talked with some guy from Google for a while, and he said once your ads start showing up, they should show up.
okay.
like
So
clockwork.
did you ask him why they don't?
He said because the other people are paying more.
Oh,
But here's the thing: this guy's a contractor, so
Yeah.
if I don't do a good job here, he doesn't have work.
right.
He loses his house. I mean, that's what that's what it rolls down to. It's not, it's not a walk-in business. I mean, there's a lot of pressure on it. He doesn't get his summers booked. He's screwed. And then
Yeah,
it's
I-
like kind of my fault. I mean, it's
I,
not, but
I,
but it kind of is.
I wouldn't have touched it,
Wh-
but
wh-
it's too
oh,
late
what do
now.
you
I
mean?
understand. I
Wait, what do you
understand.
mean? What do you mean you wouldn't have touched
I
it?
wouldn't do anything with AdWords for a customer because it's like you're telling somebody
no-
that you're going to clean their kitchen.
You have no control over it.
And you're using a tool that you don't know much about that other people have used. You go and you rent a piece of machinery, let's say, and you come to use it and it's not doing a good job. That's not because you did not do a good job. You did everything you could, but the machine just didn't work. So now you have to go and replace it. Over here, you cannot. And that person,
No, but I'm saying I didn't take this. I didn't take the AdWords job. I built the guy's website.
I understand. Did you start him on it, or he already had it and you just kind of
He wanted it.
okay?
So this wasn't me going, hey, maybe we should try this Google ad thing. This was him saying, my buddy who gives me work is doing this Google ad thing. We need to be on that. This wasn't
Okay, so don't worry about it a bit, because again, this is not something that you can make work one time and not another time. If you explain
get
to
that.
him, ask your buddy how much. I mean, did you search on his buddy? Because that would be interesting to see if
Yeah.
it is coming up.
It's just interesting. I'm in a kind of an awkward situation. I don't really know how to go.
Yeah, it's
Nah.
it's tough when you're trying to do what you're doing, and you're trying to show people that you are honest and you're straight and you're not screwing them, and when you feel like you could be seen as such, it's a good thing that you seeing that. That means that you are straight, and you don't want to be.
I guess so.
All right, here's a thought. Something. Well, I know we're out of time here, but something to think about. I have a good friend who's a solo attorney. It's just him and his staff, and he for many years, and some of you will delight over this. For many years he was a personal injury attorney, meaning that if you had were in a wreck and you were injured, then he would be your attorney. Or he also did a lot of medical malpractice. So if your doctor commits malpractice, he can go after your doctor. Well, in the state of North Carolina, we decided that all lawyers are dogs. They're making too much money. We need to teach them a lesson, and we need to protect the average guy out there who is having to pay too much for health insurance, and medical care is too expensive because of all of the lawsuits, like John Edwards, as Gary says. So we passed a law limiting the amount of damages. It's called tort reform. Remember, this was debated for a long time. We need tort reform. That's what's wrong with the cost of medicine in this country, is tort reform. If we can just get tort reform, these lawyers won't be successful getting all of these settlements from doctors and so on. So North Carolina passed it. Well, it's pretty well put this guy out of business. Great, celebrate it. Everything's good, happy. All these rich lawyers are now, boy, more power to them. They're losing their houses. Good for them. Now, so then I am aware of a situation that I became aware of a couple of months ago, where a buddy of mine had a hip replacement. He's only about 45 years old. He had a hip replacement. The doctor botched it. The guy is on hydrocodone for pain, and he doesn't have enough money to go out and get the surgery redone. He went back to his doctor. He's becoming addicted to the hydrocodone, and it's not killing all the pain. And he goes back to his doctor, and his doctor says, "I've looked at your x-rays. I don't see anything wrong. Can't help you." Well, the doctor has clearly committed malpractice, and there is no lawyer who will take the case, because the amount of money it takes to litigate the case is probably, and if it goes perfectly well, is probably at least 50% of the maximum recovery. So the guy has no recourse.
Nick, don't worry. Even though you are probably the quote unquote doctor in this case, because you're in the middle there, which he used the hip, you're trying to do right. When the doctor is saying, "I don't see anything wrong,"
it doesn't matter, Amnon. I don't care.
Yeah,
if I'm
I
trying
understand.
To do right.
I understand.
Trying to do right doesn't mean anything to me. I don't care if I'm
I
trying to
understand.
do right. If
You
this
want
guy's
to
not
actually
getting work,
Yeah.
then it
You
doesn't matter if I'm trying.
you cannot make it work. You cannot make it work. It's not under your control, like everybody told you so far. It's not under your control. All
No, I
you
get
can
that.
do is submit and pay, and that's it. And Google does the rest.
I understand that.
Yeah.
Nick, you said that this guy said that his friend who's giving him work suggested he try AdWords because he's doing it.
Yes.
What's he doing differently that you're not?
Good question. I don't know. I mean, AdWords is pretty straightforward. You type in your
Right.
keywords
Exactly.
and you click search. I mean,
I
that's
don't think there's a lot more that he can do than you do. The only thing I can think of is the time frame.
And you know
Is-
something.
What are you contracted to do for this guy, Nick? Is it just the AdWords, or are you actually building his website?
Well, I built his website, and then after I built his website, now I'm managing his Angie's List and all that other stuff.
But I mean, just to be in business today, you've got to have a website independent of searching. You just have to be able to point.
Yeah, well, no,
people.
he has it. His website is his website is great, but I don't know. I gotta figure something out for this guy, or he flat up told me that he's like, I don't do well. Well, there goes my
Get
Yeah.
him to speak to his friend who passes him the work and say, speak to your web guy and ask him what he's doing that's different to what we do.
Yeah.
Put the onus on him, not on you.
What's the result of using other browsers? Any different result or?
No, not really. It's a pretty flat line.
There,
It's just interesting.
there's also, I mean, remember, I mean, how much is he paying a month?
$300.
And that's how many impressions?
You don't pay impressions, you pay per click.
You pay what?
You pay per click. It's not pay per impression.
Oh,
That's where it comes interesting.
yeah, because I mean, in the early days, people would sit there, their competitors would sit there and just click, 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 and finish your.
Yeah, I don't think that's as
But
common
that, no,
anymore.
it's they get you really bad if you do it these days.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I would get in touch with the Google guy because maybe something went wrong.
No, it's not that the ad isn't showing up.
Okay,
Because it is.
so you
It's
saw it.
just- Yes, it's just not
Okay.
showing up to the extent of $300 a month. But you don't pay. You only pay if people click. But if
Yeah.
the ad's not showing up, how can people click? So like that's what I'm. That's
Yeah, you're
that's
just trying to see it. You're not even clicking on it.
Well, and it does show. People are seeing it, but I don't know. It's an interesting thing.
Well-
I think maybe Steve is onto something with time. Maybe that'll time will fix it. I hope, because
If it was me, I think I would say, look, it was your suggestion to try AdWords, and it's worth us trying that, but you need to think about the cost and weigh up what you're getting back from it. You put it to him rather than him thinking, wow, I'm spending all this money. What's this guy doing? Put the
Yeah.
ball in his court and say, well, look, you haven't had that much of a return yet. Do you think it's worth continuing with it?
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing is he's not even paying that much. Like he's only you
It's
pay
$8 a day, isn't it?
$8 a day is the max that you can spend.
Right.
If nobody's clicking, you don't spend any dollars a day. It's just free. So nobody's clicking on the ad because it's so infrequently showing up.
Yeah, now you know how Google made all their money.
Yeah, obviously screwing people.
Well, I mean, people call me and ask me about SEO. And this company told me they're going to put me on the first page of Google for $2,000. And the way that I approach it when I tell them why I wouldn't do it is, this is a big company, right? Must be. You're in the car business. They're a car dealer. There's a bunch of car dealers out there, and they all want to be on page number 1.
Yeah.
So this company can only, all the companies can only put 10 people on the front page. What do they do with the rest of them if it's guaranteed?
Yeah.
You can only have 10 customers and that's it.
Well, it's interesting. I'm gonna go meet with him tomorrow and sit down and look at it and figure out what works and what doesn't work. But I don't know. We'll figure it out. I completely feel like the fate of my business is the fate of his business is in my hands. But it is.
No,
It
it's not.
completely is. Yes, it is. 100% it is. Yes, Amnon.
No, it's not. What he needs to do, and I'll bet you his friend also did that, is some print advertising.
He does
And-
do print. He does print advertising, but the web is a big thing. The newspaper is only good for old people. Those are the only people that are looking at newspaper and hiring people.
No, look, if I am going to hire a basement waterproofing company, I am not going to rely on the web for that. I'm going to have to ask, and like Angie's List is one, but I will
Yeah.
ask people that had it done, who did it, and
Of
how happy
course.
they are about it. And the print is giving you name recognition. You build the name.
He's been doing this for a while. The
Okay.
referral thing is not a problem. I mean,
Then
he's literally
the-
been doing
the-
the
if
basic
he's-
work since the 80s
Look,
in Albany.
if he's doing it for a while and he's doing good work and he has a bunch of customers that he did it for, then his business faith is not in your hand. It's not what it boils down to is not Google AdWords. If he's
Yeah.
not, if he doesn't have business, there are other reasons, not because of Google. So
I guess
don't
so.
feel bad about it. I know it's easier for us to tell you that, and you feel a different way. I understand, but there are other reasons why he doesn't have business or his business is slow or whatever. It's not the Google ads. I mean, how did people do business before the web?
Yeah.
It should add some to it, but not. I saw some conversation. You guys are talking about
I've actually got to
extender.
get out of here.
You what?
I have to get out of here. I have
Okay.
to call him back.
That's fine, Nick.
Alrighty.
Thank you very much.
Yep. See everybody later. Have a good week.
You too. Talk to you
See
later.
you later, Nick. Bye.
I've seen that you guys are talking about extenders and stuff, and I think I already mentioned we needed an extender here too, because even though it's a strong, I mean, I have a access point in Genius that is much stronger than the normal router, but it wouldn't take the signal to the other side of the house. So finally went and got the TP Link that cost about $50 some, and it works like a charm. I mean, it is unbelievable.
It is kind of, though, you can't guarantee that that will fix the issue. There are certain circumstances like Gene is fighting with now.
Well, I mean, if all you're trying to do is get the signal from point A to point B, then it works. There's no two ways about it. Now,
Can you select which SSID you're amplifying?
I don't know. All I did is just paired them and put the other one on the other side of the house.
Right, that should be doing the right thing.
Now,
because
I remember something in there that you can use either a different network or a different SSID or make it work with the same SSID. But it was at night and I didn't pay attention. The only problem that I had, and I had to call them right then at night, and she was very nice, is it's tricky, and I didn't know that it makes a difference. It has to be on the same leg of your 110. So if you plug the base near your computer and it's on the left leg of your breaker box, and the other side is on the right leg of your breaker box, it has a problem. So I paired it on the counter on my workbench, and when I put it on the other side, nothing would. It's like it's not seeing the other side. I said, "What's going on?" I brought it back in here, and it works. So I called, and she said, "Okay, try a different outlet because it's probably on a different leg." So I tried a different outlet, didn't work, but that was the same breaker as for the outlets in the room. So I put it in the adjacent room. Worked right away, and the just on the other side of the wall, big deal. But it's boom, 5 bars from no bars to 5 bars. So you just have to make sure that it's on the same leg. And I mean, X10 was before my time. I mean, before my time when I started playing with all these things. And I don't know if the X10, which works on the same principles, if it had that problem. Do you know, Spence?
Say again?
The X10.
X10 had the same issue, yes.
Okay,
'cause you could
yes. You
have-
see, so it does have something.
actually have an X10 bridge that bridges between
Yeah.
the two
Okay.
legs. Because if it's separated, to explain how it works, you've got two 120-volt connections to the outside utility usually. That's what they use. They put those two together to make 240 volts for the appliances like your hot water heater or your
Right.
range that require that air conditioning. But normally they just take one half of the house is fed from one 120 leg or circuit, and the other one is fed from the other one. So they don't the signal that gets sent across the wiring uses the neutral and the hot leads to transmit and receive. And it doesn't, the neutral is all bound together. It's all tied together in the panel, but the hot side, the two 120 volt legs are not.
Right, and for the people that are not familiar with what Spencer or me talking about, if you look at your breaker box, you have breakers on the left and breakers on the right. That's not only to save space and to have more. The breakers on the left are using the left leg, and the breakers on the right are using the right leg. The 220 ones, the ones that are like double high, are actually using both legs. So that's the thing. It has to be on the same side of the breaker box.
If you look
Not
outside,
on the same breaker, but on the same side.
if your power comes in overhead, you look up to the where it connects to the house, you'll see 3 wires.
Yeah.
There's 2 120 volt legs and one what they call the neutral, which is the what you need to complete the circuit. So it takes those 2 120, brings them down into your panel, splits them left and right, and then you load the breakers in there, and that's how it's distributed.
Yeah. So it does. Those things do work. Those power line extenders do work. I know that.
And that takes a little time to figure them out if you don't have the
Yeah.
not connected to the right side.
And Ron, my system administrator, needed to do it. They just sold a house. They moved into an apartment, and they had a problem because now they have a lot of people around them. But he wanted one that would work on 5 gigahertz. And none of them mention whether they're 2.4 or 5 or whatever. And he had to try different ones or to go and call and find out. I think he finally found something that worked that did not get any interference from his neighbors. So but for a house, absolutely. I mean, I don't know why I didn't do it.
Another solution to
Before.
consider is if you don't want to use a range extender, you could just use a Ethernet power line bridge.
Yeah.
That would take your Ethernet connection in one room, send it to the opposite side of the house using one of these adapters, have it come out as Ethernet, and connect another router.
Yep.
That's what I have. I have one downstairs and one upstairs.
Yeah, but the whole idea behind those extenders is because you can't run a cable to that area.
Right. Well, this runs a cable for you.
Right. Yeah.
So.
To run a cable, absolutely, is
that's
the way
right.
to do it, and it's also the safest way to do it. Of course, today we use wireless in the house anyway, so it makes no difference.
So just drill a 1/2-inch hole in the side of your house, run the wire out, stretch it across, and drill another hole in another room. Just pull the wire in. You're all set.
Yeah. Anyway. Okay. Anything else?
That's it.
All right. For the locals, again, today is the last show of Etchings in Stone, the Vietnam War story that the local guy wrote, Ron Harris. So if you're local and you want to go see it, tickets are free. It's at 2 o'clock at the Museum of History downtown. All right. Well, Steve, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Spence, thank you. Mike, thank you. Good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie, and Donna. Thank you, everybody, for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing, back up your hard drive, and update your virus scanner. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. While you're at it, like us on Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's no brunch with Gisela because I'm going downtown again with the Jeep. But tonight at 8 o'clock, it is the Tanya Love Show. See you, everybody.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. Our weekly lineup of call-in programs includes Computers 2K Now with Amnon Nissan, Health In with Debbie Bruck, Breaking Free with Marilyn Shannon, Lessons of Vietnam with NCVVI members, The Tanya Love Show, Your Healthy Pet with Gisela DiCarlo. And if you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it at www.nissancommunications.com. Sponsored by Atomus.com, makers of quality video recorders and converters for professionals, CarolinaApparel.com, and DeltaForce.net.